Teen Special Report. As marijuana becomes mainstream, doctors, lawyers, even lawmakers still struggling to define how much pot is too much to impair your judgment behind the wheel of a car. Here's our Sonu Wasu in the search for clarity.
It's a sound Adam Cogwell dreads. He's on his way to work at a Valley medical marijuana dispensary.
Good morning.
My name's Adam Cogswell, and I have 2 convicted DUIs in the state of Arizona in Mesa.
You're shaking like crazy.
In this blurry police body camera footage, Adam tells us he knows he is visibly nervous, but he insists he's not high, even though he has consumed cannabis.
It was 14 hours before that. I had an edible to help me fall asleep, and I believe I smoked a joint before I went to bed.
14 hours ago, he's nervous because he knows even a trace amount of THC in his blood could land him with a DUI.
I had marijuana in my blood.
Medical experts say depending on how often you use marijuana, it can build up in your body. But how long should you wait before getting behind the wheel of a car? Everyone we spoke to had a different answer. Christina Orellana works at a drug and addiction treatment center.
If you are a regular user, if you're someone who's using consistently, it's probably going to stay in your system a little bit longer.
Lawyers have their own opinion.
You have instances where it can stay in your blood as long as 30 days post-use.
What I've been telling people, just based off of my experience, is that they shouldn't drive within 12 hours of smoking.
And police officers say,
so if that person consumed marijuana within 24 hours, they can be impaired.
Officer George Shui is a drug recognition expert and instructor patrolling the streets of Mesa. He also oversees all the DUI programs in the state for the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. And he tells me he's concerned.
As far as marijuana is concerned, about 68% of all the drug cases or drug DUIs that we deal with contain marijuana.
In 2020, Officer Shui says almost 50% of all DUI citations were issued to drivers on drugs, with pot now legal.
I think that number will continue to rise as far as our impaired drivers.
Here's the challenge for law enforcement and cannabis users. States may have legalized pot, but DUI laws have not been updated to define how high is too high. Unlike the .08 and your legally drunk number set for alcohol,
there is no set level of nanograms of THC that is deemed impaired in the scientific community.
Some states like Colorado have finally set a limit of 5 nanograms of THC per milliliter of blood. But the problem with that? Weak technology to measure accurate levels. Mesa police are using a spit test called the Draeger test to measure THC levels on the spot, but
that is still not something that they are allowing into court as of now.
So from Mesa to Phoenix and DPS, officers tell me right now, all they can do to measure impairment.
Adam, I am going to ask you to do some field sobriety tests.
A walk and turn, one leg stand. They'll do a finger-to-nose test.
Use the good old tests designed for alcohol impairment, designed to see if you can multitask.
You may look sober, you may act sober, you may be able to pass the field sobriety test, but if they pull your blood, any sort of trace of THC in it is a DUI in this state.
In Adam's case,
you're shaking like crazy.
His nerves may have been the red flag to this officer.
Adam, at this point, we'll tell you under arrest for DUI.
Landing this hardworking family man in jail, facing his second DUI.
It was humiliating, and I felt set up. I felt like my state gave me the permission to use a product at the same time by punishing me for using that product. The last thing I want to do is to have to go to prison for years over something that the state has given me the permission to use.
Many police agencies are now training their officers to specifically recognize the signs of marijuana impairment. They're also starting educational campaigns to let pot users know.
Don't get behind the wheel if you've used marijuana. You can impact a life forever.
Sonu Wasu, ABC15, Arizona.